Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to the Pipe Report. So this news is kind of old. It was posted on August 11th, but I think it's important to actually go over it and to discuss the real reason why Jeffrey Lord was fired from CNN. Jeffrey Lord was involved in a back and forth on Twitter between himself and Media Matters. Now, what's interesting about the whole issue with that Twitter feud is that people say he was fired for saying Sig Heil. Basically, he was mimicking Media Matters. He was mimicking their actions. Because Media Matters, their main goal is to shut down opposition media. They want to try to shut down Breitbart News now as well. They're funded by the financier, who we all know, named George Soros. Their whole goal is to achieve a single media outlet that focuses on one primary single ideology. And if you don't acquiesce to their viewpoint, if you don't abide by their standards, is because you are a fascist. Now, after he was fired here, I read some of the various articles discussing it. And the people writing about it, like this author here, this Justin Peters, it's disgusting. Whether you agree or disagree with Donald Trump, either his political atmosphere, his policies, his mentality, anything, and you disagree or agree with somebody who supports Trump, to blatantly attack and denigrate them by calling him, in this case, one of the dumbest people of all time, I think only negatively reflects on yourself. I mean, whether you like Jeffrey Lord or not, he was important at CNN to actually achieve and to give CNN a separate viewpoint, a viewpoint that deviates from the normal CNN routine, which is the regressive ideology and the left ideology. But now they don't have that anymore because of organizations like Media Matters. Media Matters employs fascist tactics. Jeffrey Lord actually called them on that, and he was fired from it because they don't want people questioning them. They cannot have people second-guessing their modus operandi. They just can't. Let me read this first paragraph here. I'm not going to go over the whole article because I kind of just discussed some of it now, but this author here. Jeffrey Lord is a political hack and a shameless troll who spent the past 2 years wasting America's time on CNN as one of the world's dumbest and most slavishly pro-Trump pundits. That is the very first sentence of this article. The very first sentence. Can you see the hate here? Can you see the desperation in this Justin Peterson's writing abilities? He is trying to align himself with the regressive ideology, and that ideology views others who oppose their beliefs as racist, as bigoted, as horrible human beings. And he is reinforcing that stereotype. He is reinforcing that common contention just by that first sentence alone. It's unreal. It is truly outstanding. The hatred of those in the left-wing media outlets, in the left-wing establishment. They're so set to completely disavow anyone who questions their beliefs, their morality, their ethical obligations when reporting the news. They have to destroy this man. They have to fire him, and after he's fired, they have to make sure that everyone knows he is a racist, that he is a Nazi, that he is one of the dumbest people in the world, a hardcore political hack that doesn't understand anything about anything. Where did this desperation come from? Where did this hostility come from? And where's it going to go? The only way we can actually achieve a more benevolent society is to allow others to question your beliefs, is to allow the free flow of ideas from one ideology to another. That's why on my channel, I have interviewed people on the left. I've interviewed Zuan Politikon. I've interviewed Jamar Thomas. Now, we don't agree on a lot, but we found a lot we can agree on. And that's what it comes down to. That is actually how we grow as a society, how we evolve so we're able to discuss controversial topics with one another. We have to actually sit down and hear opposing viewpoints. We cannot just live in a single echo chamber where the only train of thought you hear are the thoughts that align with your political ideology. So whether you disagree what Jeffrey Lord did by saying Sieg Heil, because he was trying to imitate Media Matters, their fascist tactics, completely denigrating this man after he was fired and trying to completely destroy him, calling him the shameless troll, one of the world's dumbest, pro-Trump. I mean, you got to read that and you're like, wow, like, why does this guy, Justin Peters, hate him so much? Is he that big a threat to his own supposition of what the U.S. should be like? Is he that big of a threat to Justin Peters' preconceived notion of what American democracy is actually about? And I think the answer is yes. Just based on this rhetoric by Justin Peters, it's yes. So, based on just looking at him and reading that, he is a disgusting human being. And I guess this is Slate News, though, so you couldn't really expect much, but it wasn't just him. There's other articles I read, too, that conducted themselves in a similar manner. And it really makes you question the devolution of America and where we are headed. So I disagree with these aspersions directed at Jeffrey Lord. I disagree that he was fired because he said that Media Matters, ran by George Soros, does fascist tactics to shut down independent and the different media outlets that do not conform with their beliefs. Yes, he said Sieg Heil, and maybe you could make a case for that. But since he was using that as an example, as a way to define Media Matters' modus operandi, I don't think you should actually be able to justify firing for that. This was a wrong decision, and I really don't know anything about this man, just Jeffrey Lord. But just based what I looked up and what I've seen, this was a wrong decision, and him being constantly denigrated after his firing, it's disgusting, and it really negatively reflects on those who are attacking him so viciously. And I'm done.